Hey Howard, what you working on?
Well, hello. I'm working on a new pedal for Catalinbread. And before you ask what is it, I can't tell you yet. But I can tell you it's sounding really good. But you'll find out soon enough what it is. And I think you're gonna like it. But anyway, if you'll excuse me.
Well, the internet actually has some questions about the Echorec and Bell Epoch. What are all the switches under the backplate?
Oh, you mean these? Yes. Well, that's funny that you asked that because I've been hearing that come up a lot recently, and it seems like a lot of folks aren't taking advantage of the extra control they have over their pedals. So why don't you meet me on camera 3 and I can spend a few minutes talking about that. This is the Catalinbread Echorec, and this is my hand with my guitar pick. This hand and guitar pick is going to show you some of the secrets under the hood of the Echorec that you may or may not know about. Let's go ahead and look at the Echorec now. We flip it over. I've already removed the bottom plate, but all you have to do is remove the 4 screws, pop the plate off, and you're ready to work. So there's 3 things we can do with the Echorec. We have the true bypass and buffered switch. You have that option. We have a gain trim pot. You can adjust the gain of the preamp. And then up here we have the modulation trim pot, and you can set the depth of the modulation. From the factory, if you bought it brand new from us, it'll be set to buffered mode, or buffered's kind of incorrect. It's actually non-true bypass mode. We call it trails mode, and we'll talk about that in a second. The gain is set so that with the pedal bypass, it's about the same volume as with the pedal on. And the modulation is set to just a nice light amount that sounds like a realistic warble that you would find in an Echorec. So let's talk about what these switches do and how to adjust them. First, let's talk about the tools you need for this job. You're going to need a small screwdriver, either flat or Phillips head, but make sure it's the right size to fit in these trim pots. Don't use a large screwdriver or a pencil or a pen or a guitar pick. You may break the trim pot, and we don't want that to happen now, do we? So a small jeweler's set, you can buy at Radio Shack or wherever, works great. And it also works good for switching the true bypass switch here, which is located right here. And all you gotta do is stick a screwdriver in there and flick it to the right, and like the legend says here, you're now in TB, true bypass mode. Flick it to the left, you're in buffered or trails mode. Why would you want to use these modes? Well, putting it in buffered mode means that when you turn the stomp switch off, indicator lighter's off, all that means is that your guitar will stop feeding into the echo part of the pedal, but it'll still be going through its preamp. And so any echoes that's already repeating in the pedal will still repeat until they're done. And you have access to that preamp all the time. Putting in true bypass mode means that when you turn the pedal off, it's off. And the repeats stop instantly, just like you're used to. So you have the option of both. A cool trick you can do with true bypass mode is you put in true bypass mode. Let's jump up here to the gain setting. With the gain setting, you can turn the gain up, and then when true bypass mode, you have your rhythm sound, you step on the Echorec, and now it's got some nice juicy transistor preamp gain, and you got the echoes on, so it's like a good lead boost, or for that part that you really want to stand out. So that's one way I like to use true bypass mode. But trails mode is also cool. You want the preamp always on, and you want to be able to turn off the pedal and have the trails finish off, so you get kind of an overlap between your parts in your song, for example. So let's go ahead and hear real quickly what they sound like. I'm going to put it in true bypass mode now. And we'll flip the pedal over here, and we'll just play something. I'll turn the repeats up and just play a chord. And I turn the pedal off. It's off. No big surprise there. Let's go back under here and put it in trails mode. Flick the switch to the left. Now when we play, turn the pedal on, and we'll play a chord again. Turn my guitar on first. it's still going. Keep in mind that when you are in trails mode, you get the repeats that keep going through. And also, the mix knob does affect the tone because the mix knob is still mixing, but there's just no repeats on this side since you're not feeding the delay chain anymore. So that's trails mode and true bypass mode. You can just flick the switch for whatever you want to use the pedal for. Okay, now let's go back on here and let's look at the gain mode here now. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in true bypass mode on the switch. Going to turn the pedal on, and we're going to just listen to that gain up. It's hard to play guitar and turn the pot at the same time. So I turn it to the right, to clockwise. That turns the gain down to its minimum setting. It's nice and clear and clean this way. Turn it counterclockwise. And it gets louder, and you can have to sit down and really play with it to find that spot that you want, depending on how you want to use the pedal and the other pedals in your pedal chain and all that stuff. But I will add though that if you turn it all the way counterclockwise, you'll hear it do that. And when you play something, it becomes really crazy. We've just showed you secret fuzz mode. So if you crank that thing up and you have it in true bypass mode, when you step on the Echorec, no one in the audience will be able to ignore what you're playing. So if that's what you're trying to do, that's an awesome way to do it. Secret fuzz mode. Just turn the gain up, and if you have your amp cranked up, you get a great dirty boost. It's almost like a fuzz pedal built into your pedal. So do explore that gain pot and find that sweet spot for what you're trying to do. So now we move up to the top pedal here, and it's kind of tucked away up here, but there's another trim pot up here, and this sets the depth of the modulation on the repeats. So let me set the pedal to where we have some repeats going, and you see I got the right side screwdriver, so it just fits in there perfectly. You can actually let go of it and play your passage. So if I turn it counterclockwise, the modulation gets way more dramatic. And if I turn it all the way clockwise, no modulation. And I'll set it back just a little bit on there. There you go. That's the way I like it. So that's the modulation trim pot. So you can customize it. Some people like to have no modulation. Some people like to have it really nice and swirly and wet. It's all up to you. And that's about it. We have the true bypass trail switch, we have the gain switch, and we have the modulation, trim pot. And the modulation trim pot, those should help you get more personalization out of your Echorec, and hopefully it'll help you enjoy it more. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments below. Until then, happy playing and happy trails.